And also, we're going to be doing some updates on the actual guy who tackled him a couple weeks ago, because apparently that guy, he is just a boatload of trouble. So John Mulaney draws criticism for having Dave Chappelle open tells transphobic jokes at Ohio State. So this happened right south of us where we're at. And so I was like, oh, this has all the makings of a new controversy. So, and of course, Dave Chappelle was trending on Twitter the last couple days. So, that means because Twitter is very real. It's a very real place that really matters. Let's jump into this article. Let me get it pulled up, actually. Where is it? Here it is. Oh, no, that's not it. Stupid. Okay, that's it. Now I'm going to choke on my own spit for a little bit. Hold on, let me cough. Okay. We're ready. We're ready. What the hell is this? A vomit, poop, and Woody Harrelson. Triangle of sadness. Shocks Canis with uproarious 8-minute standing ovation. Oh, dear God. All right. So here we go. John Mulaney draws criticism for having Dave Chappelle open tell transphobic jokes at Ohio show. That seems like a weird sentence to me. I know it's a headline, but that just seems weird. I'm going to be yawning for whatever reason. I'll just be over here being yawny. During the Friday performance on his From Scratch tour, comedian John Mulaney surprised his audience and drew criticism from some fans when Dave Chappelle appeared as an opener and told what were described as transphobic jokes. Chappelle's opening set occurred during the show at Ohio State University's Value City Arena in Columbus, Ohio. Okay, so first of all, Value City, I didn't even know that was still a company. Okay. Value City used to be the only place I used to go shopping for my big and tall clothes when I was like 325 pounds in high school. I would go and shop at this place, and I would shop in the big and tall section. And me and my mom would do like school shopping. And of course, my mom would always be like, which recently, not too recently, but never mind. My mom used to yell like, do you need a 3X, honey, or a 4X? And I'm sitting there in the dressing room like, God, Mom, why do you gotta tell the whole store I'm a big fat asshole? So that was one of those things. Going shopping with your mom for school clothes was always fun at the big and tall section because, hey, being a big fat ass in high school was humiliating, but I feel like it built a lot of character for me growing up, and especially losing the weight and becoming a grown up with grown up emotions and such. It kind of built character to be able to be a little fatty. I'm still fat. I'm not some skinny mini by any means. I was looking in the mirror the other day. I'm just like, God, what happened to you? You used to be healthy, Mike. But I'm getting back to it. I'm actually avoiding sugar again and all those things, and trying not to eat past a certain time in the evening. It's tough. It's tough. Okay? It is tough. Chappelle's opening set occurred during the show at Ohio State University's Value City Arena in Columbus, Ohio. I also used to work at Value City too. Stole a lot from them, allegedly stole a lot from that. I was in receiving lots of PS2 games, lots of Xbox games, allegedly. Although that place no longer exists. And that's why I was like, well, how does Value City have an arena? I don't even know how they exist anymore. Although there is no footage from the event, as attendees were required to lock their phones up beforehand, several audience members took to social media afterwards to criticize the show. According to the attendees, Chappelle appeared as a surprise opener and told jokes targeting the transgender community. Mulaney reportedly came on stage and hugged Chappelle at the conclusion of the opening set. Some fans in the crowd expressed their disappointment after the show on Twitter. I like that they included that Mulaney reportedly came on stage and gave him a hug after his set. Like, what was he supposed to do? Was he supposed to be come out and be like, "How dare you get the fuck off stage? How are you gonna make jokes? I invited you to make jokes. Get the fuck out of here." Like, I don't know what people were expecting John Mulaney to do. Also, John Mulaney invited Dave Chappelle onto his show, so I'm not sure. He had to know that Dave Chappelle was going to do what Dave Chappelle does, not that his whole cornerstone of his act is making fun of transgender people, which, again, I don't believe that he's making fun of transgender people. I mean, he might be saying some cringy jokes that I can see how it can be offensive, but I don't think he has, malice at heart. I don't think he's sitting there like, "Oh, I hate them transgenders." I don't think he's sitting there writing, "Oh, this is going to really do it big." Like, "Oh, this will really make them feel horrible about themselves." I don't think Dave Chappelle wants people to feel bad about themselves. But I do feel like when you make fun of a certain communities and you make fun of certain cultures, I feel like that's like bringing them into the norm. So it is, to me, when you're making jokes in regards to certain communities, it's like normalizing it. It's like, this is not, these people are now a part of our larger community, as in a sense, this normative community, whatever the fuck that means. But like, it took a long time for homosexuals to become part of the norm, and now that's a very normal thing, almost to the point where it's not enough to be homosexual. That, with the oppression Olympics, it's not enough to be homosexual. You have to have your pronouns and all that stuff, which I'm not pooping on pronouns. Have your pronouns, friends. I want you to feel comfortable in the skin you're in. But, I feel like once you start bringing people into the fold in all aspects in life, and even jokes, that means that they're a part of the community now, that they're a part of the normal conversation. They're in the conversation instead of being on the fringes, because I don't think that anyone deserves to be on the fringes and look at the party. You look at the party from the outside. Everybody should be a part of the party. So, in my opinion, I feel like more jokes about transgender community, more jokes about the LGBTQ plus community, and I'm not saying malicious jokes where they're intentionally there to degrade people, but I'm saying jokes that that bring people into the fold. That's what I'm about, and that's what I think that Dave Chappelle is doing here. I don't think Dave Chappelle has malice intent or has hate in his heart towards the transgender community. If you watch the last stand-up special, The Closer, it's about his transgender friend who actually took their own life because of the hatred they were receiving from their own community on Twitter for defending Dave Chappelle. And they ended up killing themselves, and I'm sure there was a lot more to it than just being rejected by your own community. But someone to go through such drastic measures as to take one's own life, there's more to it than just a Twitter mob online. But sometimes it's not. Sometimes it's not. I don't know. It just depends on some people. But I really, it's really sad, and that special is actually dedicated to his friend who again took their own life defending Dave Chappelle, amongst other things. I'm sure they had lots of mental issues involved as well, but yeah, like that, I believe he dedicated that whole special to that person. So that's the thing about it. If he hated transgender people, why would he make such a big deal in his special about how much this person cared, that he cared about them? Why would he make such a big deal about it? I would assume if he hated the transgender community, that he would be like, like, good riddance to bad rubbish, like, I'm guessing he would be like cheering on that this person took their own life, and, and there was one less, so that's what I'm guessing. But, again, I'm not defending what he's saying completely, because what he did say was kind of cringy. I could see how it could be offensive to people, but again, you got to look at it, I think, from a wider spectrum, from a a different lens, a zoomed out lens, because it's not just these one jokes. It's part of a complete piece of work. And at the end of it, I don't get that he hates or has any hatred for people. And yeah, so I don't know. Be offended if you want, I guess. Slapgate is Chris Rock's defining moment. Okay, so this is unfortunate that this person felt this way, but my favorite part of tonight was when Dave Chappelle ambushed. Oh, okay. Well, we'll go to the thing then. It's fine. My favorite part of tonight was when Dave Chappelle ambushed us at the John Mulaney Show, told a bunch of transphobic jokes, a massive stadium of people laughed, and then John Mulaney hugged him at the end. Anyways, I was such a big John Mulaney fan, and I think I still am, but they also had our phones in the little locked wallets, so we couldn't film it. So I just had to sit there, joke after joke about trans people, and hear 18,000 people laughing along. Okay, so I'm just, if the room wasn't laughing, I mean, this person right here who's trans, I'm only assuming that they're trans. Their name is Testosterone Jew. Ryland. I'm assuming that they're, which I guess I shouldn't assume. You have no idea what you were talking about. Chappelle's jokes have IRL negative consequences on trans people that result in assault and murder. It's not making it normative. It's encouraging hate. And he had a trans friend, has same energy as I'm not a racist. I have a black friend. Anna Boom Banana, welcome in. Thank you so much for your first time comment. Well, that's your opinion, I suppose. I don't see it that way. That's just not how I see it, and I don't think it's encouraging hate. And I think when 18,000 people are laughing along with the jokes, is it malice? Is it malice? I mean, you heard it right here. 18,000 people are laughing along. They're jokes. I mean, if that's how you feel, that's totally fine. I don't, I'm not hating on how you feel. I totally respect that. That's just not how I see it. And, that's you and that's me. I don't want, I don't think that we should hate each other because of those feelings. I think that, it's fine to disagree. And, that's what we're missing in this society right now, is that there's no room for disagreement. It's just, he's a transphobe. He's a terrible human being. Are you trans? No, I'm not. I'm not trans. I'm not trans at all. But it's, I have opinions on it, and I support the trans community. I think that they should, again, feel comfortable in their own skin. But again, that was my opinion about how, pulling people into the fold and having jokes makes it normal, I think. So there you go. Anna Bomb Banana, are you trans? This was at the Columbus show, and he only came because he lives in an hour away. Being trans is so exhausting. I can't even have a nice night out without being reminded that most of society wants trans people dead. See, I don't think most of society wants trans people dead. I just don't agree with that sentiment. It's been, and do I look trans? Do I sound trans? Anna, do I seem trans? I don't know. It's okay. I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't be offended either. Then how you see it is irrelevant. Chappelle punches down. That's bullying, not humor. See, this is the problem, Anna, is that if you're not a part of this community, you have no opinion about it. I think that's ridiculous. I think we all live in a big community called, well, here in the United States, I would like to think that we're a part of a bigger community, and that we can talk about these things in an open discord. But once you start labeling people, and once you start telling people that they are not a part of the conversation, then we're no longer having a conversation. We're having, an echo chamber form. And so I I think that even though I'm not trans, and I completely support the trans people, and again, I think some of the jokes that Dave Chappelle said were pretty cringy. Some of them I didn't think were that funny at all. I didn't laugh at all. But again, when you look at some of his work as a bigger piece, there's no malice, there's no hate involved. There's a bigger point to all this, and the problem is that people sort of zero in on these certain jokes, and they're like, "This is killing trans people," and I don't agree with that. No, I'm not trans. A few of my friends are. They told me their experiences, and it's awful. Yeah, I have friends that are trans too, and I know that they go through stuff a lot, but I don't think. Here's the funny thing: I have some trans friends who think Dave Chappelle is amazingly funny, and they don't get offended at that stuff. So, that's anecdotal. It goes both ways, I suppose, Anna. Again, I'm not trying to make anybody feel bad, and I support the trans community to the fullest. I hope they get everything that they want. But what you're seeing now, and especially now with Netflix, you see that it's sort of changed. Netflix just released this internal memo that got leaked where, because The Closer, which was Dave Chappelle's last special, it was there was a lot of pushback, and rightfully so. And I support that. I support protest. If you don't like something, then protest it peacefully protest. But what happened in the internal memo is that they decided that, if you don't like the content that they're putting out there, that Netflix is not the place for them to work. And you're also seeing that they're seeing a big decline in their subscriptions, and I feel like I just feel like that's the right move, is to sort of like, if you're not on board with what they're doing, then you should not be a part of it. And I agree with that, but I don't think that you should be pushed out of the conversation. And I do see like Netflix should have sort of an internal way of people showing complaints, but as a big company like that, I don't think they have time to be burdened with a very small minority of people who are upset with like one or two things and think that that should just be completely eliminated. That's taking people out of the conversation. I think that they should have their voices heard, but again, it's a company and they're there to make money. And so, whatever. I just feel like if you don't like what someone's doing, you just don't pay attention to it. You don't watch it. You can watch anything else. If you don't like Dave Chappelle, don't watch it. So here's the interesting thing about this situation, Anna, is that John Mulaney invited Dave Chappelle to his show. So I can see how if you don't like Dave Chappelle and you're trans and you did feel bombarded by Dave Chappelle being there, well, then I can see their grievance. I can see why they're upset, because they came to see John Mulaney, not Dave Chappelle. They're not a supporter of Dave Chappelle. And so I could see how that could be a problem for some people. And you know what? They could just get up and walk out, get out and walk out until Dave Chappelle is done. So, yeah, I love the trans community. I have many friends, I'm a musician. You think I don't have friends that are in there? And I'm not trying to do I have trans friends, so it's okay for me to talk about it. I'm talking about it because I feel like it's okay for me to talk about it, because this is America and I can talk about the thing. Everyone has a right to an opinion here. And I fully support that. And yeah, that's just my opinion. And again, I love the trans community. I love the LGBT plus community. I have very good friends, very close friends. I have family members who are part of that community who I love very much. And if anybody did anything to physically hurt them, they would have some shit to answer for. But, again, these are just my opinions. I'm just a doughy guy in Ohio, bruh. Anyways, this conversation is great to have, because, when you're reading through this and you're reading people's personal feelings about this, this person did feel ambushed. They did feel ambushed because, again, they weren't expecting Dave Chappelle. And then to have John Mulaney come out and give Dave Chappelle a big hug, afterwards, I could see how that could sway someone else's opinion towards another direction. But again, I'm just rambling on here at this point. Anna's probably been gone. And it was like, don't want to be a part of this conversation, which is fine too. That's totally cool with me as well. Okay, so let's read some other of the people who were upset about this. Let's see. Ray, spookiest version. Y'all ever hear 12,000 people laugh at a transphobic joke while you're a trans person in the audience who didn't know transphobic comedian would make a surprise appearance at the John Mulaney Show? Yeah, it wasn't fun. Fuck you, DC. Was this in DC? I thought this was in Ohio. Was this person even at the show? They said fuck you, DC. This was in Columbus. Zippy Zipper. Zippy's still here. Thank you, Zippy. Hi, mighty buddy. Anyways, let's see. Anna Bomb Banana. Where are the? She's been here before. Haven't they been here before? I don't remember. Let's go look at what their profile says. We don't know much about them, but I'm sure Anna Bomb Banana is great. And me too. I love them. Love Anna Bomb Banana. I'm trying to remember what community they were part of. Because I'm pretty sure they've been here before. I'm not here to try to drive anybody out. I'm just saying my opinions. And that's what I'm here for. Just giving my opinions. My stupid fat boy opinions. This is funny. Fuck you, DC. What were they in DC? I don't know if you're at the right show. I don't know. I don't know if this person is all of sound mind because they're saying fuck you, DC. Nowhere in Columbus is anything called DC. It's like no one calls Columbus DC. Imagine if you were black in America. Way worse experience. Oh, no. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what that experience is because I am not black, nor am I trans. I purely blame Netflix. They've been funding the shows. They probably booked Dave to show up. I don't know if that's true. This thread has a better way of wording it than I can. Let's see. Let's see what this says. Dave Chappelle at John Mulaney, Ohio thread. I'm gonna shoot this off into a great ethereal sense. I was at the John Mulaney show that night. Yes, Chappelle was there. He made one transphobic joke. The joke was one line after one line of setup, and it was as followed. Ooh, I want to know. I mean, it wasn't a gun. It wasn't a knife. A gun that identifies as a knife. Then he paused, smiled a bit, and moved on quickly. So I'm guessing this is in reference to his attack that was made, that someone attacked him a couple weeks ago at the Hollywood Bowl. And actually there's an update on that I want to go over. There is he used a gun that looked like a knife, and it flipped out as a knife. So it was so stupid. Like, I'll show you guys the picture. Oh my God, I can't do. It was just the dumbest thing. So like, here it is. It's like, for a weapon, what a dumb weapon. That is a dumb weapon. It's a gun, it's a knife. I don't know. So this was the thing that he used. This is, I mean, the problem is this looks like a real ass gun. So if you pulled this on somebody and was like, yo, give me your money, and and they were like, wait a second, that's not a gun, he could just easily flip that knife out and be like, well, yeah, guess what? I guess it's not, but here it is. So there is that. That's the thing. So his joke was in reference So he said, I mean, it wasn't a gun. It was a knife, a gun that identifies as a knife. Then he paused, smiled a bit, moved on quickly. The homophobic joke was him saying, maybe you two are gay. I don't know. Nothing wrong with that if that's the case. Is that the joke? Oh my God, that's not even funny. I mean, reading it here was. I mean, maybe in person that would have been funny, but I mean, that's not even a joke. That's not. I don't even know what's going on there. It was laughed at as he was talking about two twins and he was heckling them a bit about not being twins. I'd say to call it homophobic was a bit of a stretch. John Mulaney hugged Chappelle. It likely was a formality thing, doesn't indicate his stance on it or anything. Yeah, and I agree with that. I agree with that sentiment that John Mulaney was just like, hey, this is what we do. But I don't. It's not that he speaks. Here's the thing: John Mulaney's act is very. It's very much about him. It's a very self-deprecating. He doesn't really talk about politics or cultural politics. He sticks to mostly about him, which I think is very safe for comedians. And punching down, punches down, gives a shit. Yeah. So it's let's see. It's entirely possible that it was something where Mulaney had no idea what was going to say, and even that he had final say on yes or no. This tour was funded by Netflix. Mulaney looked extremely uneasy afterwards. Overall, to think logically about this, I think the idea that John Mulaney would willingly place Dave Chappelle in front of an audience he might hurt because John Mulaney hates the LGBT community is a stretch. He might have just made a mistake. There's too many variables. Yeah, I don't believe neither of these comedians have any ill will towards the LGBTQ plus community. I believe that they probably have nothing but love for that community. So I wouldn't imagine that they were sitting there, yes, oh yeah, I'm going to invite Dave Chappelle and he's going to say some terrible things that's going to totally turn this fucking community against me because that's what I want. I don't want their patronage anyways. Fuck those guys. And Dave Chappelle, oh yeah, baby, I'm about to go in there and just insult a whole community of people because that's what I do, bitch. You know, which is what he does. But again, I don't think he hates anybody, and I don't think that. I don't think that he hates anybody. He does shit on different cultures. He shits on I've heard him shit on the Mexicans. Yeah, I'm not sitting here like, God damn it. I've heard him shit on everybody, every community, Asians, fucking everybody. But for some reason there's a certain group of people that you can't touch. And that to me doesn't make sense. I mean, that means that you're actually reinforcing that curiosity, I suppose, that because I think a lot of people are just curious, like what is happening over there, what is even happening in that. So I feel like you're reinforcing a certain mentality if you think that these people are, you can't touch them. That you can't, they're marginalized. You cannot touch them. They're untouchable. You can't say nothing about it. You can't say nothing. I think that you're reinforcing that mystery and that because really what is hate? It's the fear of the unknown, and that fear turns into into hatred. And so I feel like the more that you talk about it, and the more that they talk, and the more that they're out there, it's just like everything else. It's the more that it's out in front of everybody. I mean, even when you talk about like the BLM movement and how the how cops have been murdering black people for years before cell phones. And now that we have cell phones, now that the news actually looks at it, I mean, maybe we should relook at how our fucking our media presents situations. They don't pay attention to anything unless it's selling newspapers, clicks, whatever it is, it's views. And so I definitely think that we need to re-examine how our media filters how we get information, and the more that it's out in the open, the more that people talk about it, the more that people are able to see what's going on. I believe that that's the better. It's better. I mean, people, I mean, gay people used to have to be so secretive about what they used to do. I mean, imagine how horrible that was. And now everyone has this opportunity to be out in the open. And yes, there's assholes out there. And yes, there's dangerous people out there. But I don't think that's the majority of people. And I think that's the problem. I think that's what the media wants to sell us, is that they want to sell us that there's this huge cabal of people who are just like, I hate you and I'm going to kill you. When really it's a fringe minority of people out there who are like, that crazy and that dangerous. Yes, people are going to be weirded out. But again, if that's why I think it is important for this stuff to be sort of out in the open, and for people to see it, and for people to make jokes about it, and for people to have this out more in the open, and the media to be talking about it more. But I don't like how it's become this divisive tool to protect places of power. That's what I don't like, and that's how things are sort of carving out right now. So I like this guy's outlook on it. I think that and if this, and then of course this is Twitter. So if this was the line, if these were the lines that he said, I think that's ridiculous. I don't, there's nothing there. There's nothing fucking there. It's just something for people to get mad about on Twitter and on Twitch, for people to come and be mad on Twitch and such. Yeah. So there you go. I don't think it's encouraging hate. That's pretty bold. Okay, so tell me why let's just move on past Twitter. Twitter is such a shit show. Jokes about the transgender community have been recent cornerstone of Chappelle's stand-up. I don't know if it's the cornerstone. Did you see that he made fun of the baby? He made fun of a lot of the baby on that last one. The comedian first drew controversy for anti-trans jokes in Netflix specials such as 2019 Sticks and Stones and 2021 special The Closer. Hey, Chris Thompson music. What's up, buddy? Good to see you. We'll get a shot. Actually, we gotta get some shout outs going around for everybody here. Shout out to Chris. Thanks for being here, friend. Oh, you reached 400. Congratulations, my friend. Congratulations. Good to hear. And Zippy Zipper, who is a fantastic artist. Everybody should go follow Zippy. Go get yourself some Zippy Zipper in your life. Go ahead now. Go ahead. Get on. Fantastic artist. And yeah, both of these people, great artists. Go support. Now I'm not anyway. There you go. Thank you, Chris. I appreciate the update. I appreciate that update, my friend. Yeah, good news. Good news on the horizon there, my friend. I know these numbers are hard to attain, for sure. They are hard to attain. Jokes. Let me see here. The Closer in particular faced blowback from groups such as GLAAD and the National Black Justice Coalition for derogatory jokes Chappelle made about trans women, as well as extended bits where he defended previous anti-trans statements from rapper DaBaby and Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling earlier this month after being tackled while performing at a Netflix Is a Joke event. Chappelle drew further controversy then when he had joked that the assailant was a trans man. So it's just, lots of people getting pissed off at Chappelle. Chappelle's controversy and derogatory statements stand in contrast to Mulaney's largely uncontroversial material. In his stand-up, Mulaney tends to stay away from political and social issues, focusing his attention on self-deprecation, humor, and anecdotes about his personal life and struggles with alcoholism addiction. After Mulaney began trending on Twitter the next day as a result of surprise Chappelle set, comedians started to react to him in turn. I pledged Tim Heidecker, who I really like, Tim and Eric. That was just such a great show. I pledged no anti-trans weirdo surprise guest on my summer tour. Well, that was just a way for him to get more clicks and stuff. That's kind of shitty. That's kind of sad right there. Dave Chappelle won't be dropping in on any of my shows if that was stopping you from buying tickets. No, people weren't buying tickets because they don't care. Kyle Kinane, which Kyle Kinane is a very funny comedian as well. And I don't blame these comedians for jumping on that. Dave Chappelle is a huge comedian, and just any kind of attention could potentially turn into ticket sales. So you can't blame them for jumping on the train. As a musician from the outside, and I'm just glad that I'm not a part of this community, because the comics are taking such a dick right now. I'm glad I'm just in the music community here. But from what I understand, you're supposed to defend comics. You're supposed to defend your fellow comics, but apparently that doesn't count here. So hey, whatever. To each they own. To each they own. Okay, so that's the Dave Chappelle thing. So here's a little update on the asshole who attacked him. Dave Chappelle attacker charged with attempted murder for allegedly stabbing roommate last year. Why is this guy even out? Why is this guy out on the streets? The crazed man accused of attacking comedian Dave Chappelle on stage during a Los Angeles show earlier this month has been charged with attempted murder for allegedly stabbing his roommate in December. For fuck's sake, why was this dude even allowed to be out in the streets to try to attempt to kill or do whatever the fuck he was trying to do to Dave Chappelle? Isaiah Lee was busted Thursday in connection to a fight with his roommate at a transitional housing facility on December 2nd, the Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office announced. Lee pleaded not guilty to one count of attempted murder over this violent quarrel, prosecutors said. The DA's office said the victim identified Lee as his attacker after the suspect gained significant media attention following the onstage confrontation with Chappelle at the Hollywood Bowl earlier this month. The publicity generated by the attack on Mr. Chappelle helped police solve this crime. District Attorney George Gascon said in a statement, the incident that occurred at the Hollywood Bowl was a misdemeanor conduct and rightfully referred to the city attorney's office based on the nature of the severity of December attack. Mr. Lee is now facing felony charges which my office will prosecute. So they didn't want to give him felony charges back when he was attacking Dave Chappelle with a weapon. But now they do. So now on May 3rd, Lee allegedly charged and tackled. This dude got wrecked. Oh yeah, that dude got so fucked up. That shit was hilarious. That's what happens though. That's what you get for jumping on stage and trying to murder Dave Chappelle. On May 3rd, Lee allegedly charged and tackled Chappelle on stage of the iconic amphitheater as the 48-year-old comic performed his set at Netflix's Joke Festival. Lee was allegedly armed with a fake gun that had a real knife inside at the time. Shocking video footage of the incident. Lee allegedly slammed it. Okay, we went over this. Really? Yeah, there he is. Here he is. He got so demolished. I want to know what happened at the transitional housing, because apparently I guess he stays at transitional housing that specializes in like LGBTQ communities. So I'm not sure if that's what he. Not sure what he identifies as, but I want to know more about the incident itself. But his charges were, we know that. Lee appeared in Los Angeles courtroom last week, rejected his public defender bid to release on his own recognizance, and left his bail unchanged at $30,000. Lee was also arrested for assault with a deadly weapon in 2018 and for felony larceny in New York 2015. According to Fernandez, who mentioned a song Lee produced was named after Chappelle. Chappelle claimed he spoke to Lee backstage before he was hauled off by cops. According to the Hollywood Reporter, the comic told the crowd at a surprise show that Lee had ranted about his grandmother being forced out of her Brooklyn home due to gentrification. So this person is just definitely a fucking crazy person, which he needs more help than just transitional housing. Dude needs real help. And I don't know if locking him up or doing whatever they plan on doing to him is going to help, but dude needs more help than just, don't do that, or go to prison, Lee believed the attack would bring more attention to his grandmother's situation, said Chappelle, who added he thought Lee appeared to be mentally ill. His attorney said Lee, who appeared in court in a padded, suited gown, was receiving mental health services. Oh, that's nice. What do they call it? A day late and a dollar short. His pre-trial date for the Chappelle incident is set for Friday. He's scheduled to make his next court appearance, according to the attempted murder on, Jesus Christ, June 2nd. Okay, so there you go. There's just an update on this guy who looks like he's a good-looking young man. Good-looking young man. There you go. In any case, moving on.